So, Unc, as I was saying, Todd and I have used that statement. You know, we're getting a lot of applications submitted, or we've stopped accepting applications. Well, Paw 1956 time frame is getting a lot of applications. So tell us more about that.
Yeah, he was, you know, Daddy's very handsome, very debonair, very easygoing, uh, and, and nice to look at. You know, just like your daddy was, very nice to look at. But like I say, Taff have always remind me of Daddy. The same complexion, you know, mannerism, kind of laid back, you know. But yeah, Miss Brooks was after him, you know. Miss Bessie, uh, very attractive lady. Well, Miss Brooks was good looking, but Miss Bessie was very good looking. But none of those applications fit the bill. Then Mama put an application and looked like she fit the bill. Because I remember when Daddy started seeing her, he bought her around. Then next thing I know, was over on the hill over at Papa George's house. That was Mama's daddy. Very nice man, you know. We went over one day and we was out there working in the garden with him. You know, he was doing flowers, you know, and I'm sitting up, wasn't thinking then, but I be thinking now. So Daddy was just seeing how all of us would always mesh together. So it worked out because September the 4th, 1957, which is our Rail's birthday and Tino's birthday, Daddy and Mama got married, you know. And I remember her giving Maud a bath one time, and I asked her, because I was 10 years old, getting ready to be 11, 14 days later. And I remember me asking her, what do you want me to call you? She said, whatever you want to. I said, I'm going to call you Mama. She said, okay, just like that. And that's how it started. Yeah.
Wow. So was let me tell you why I asked this question. So when Daddy married Laquitha, I was not accepting. I'm even at now 49, and I think back then I'm very territorial, and I was not accepting of Laquitha. Then Tino comes along, and I'm like, I became more, and it just got better as more brothers showed up. I guess I became more loving, and I got got myself out the way. But you and all your siblings, of course, Ahmad is just a baby, so not Ahmad, but you and your brothers, were you all, and Mary, were you all accepting of Nini? How did that dynamic play out?
I think because graduated, Clyde graduated in May of 1957. He'd already graduated. They were, Clyde and Ariel were accepting. I don't think Mary was really accepted because in retrospect, you think about what the preacher said, you know, so that sticks. I mean, that sticks, you know, and I set up and I kind of think about things about that now, you know, because I remember the day she had sin, you know, I remember it like it was yesterday, you know, and but it was always a little tiff. It was always a little tiff there, you know. So.
Wow. Yeah, man, it's amazing how you can reflect back on these things. You can see how the hurt started, and you can see how that hurt is just weaving its way, through your family, through your relationships, through your actions, and it demands of us that we have a relationship with God. Religion don't cure that hurt. Only relationship does. And so many people are in church thinking they're being healed or cured. No, you ain't got no relationship. That ain't the solution. And so Nini and Pawpaw get married September of 1957. And I love how you just shared, what should I call you? And that bond, that relationship with you and Nene started at age 10. And so, of course, you and Daddy are what, 4 years apart? So my daddy was
Yes.
6. And because it always blew me away that even though Nene didn't give birth to you all, the connection y'all had with Nene, the love you have for Nene, the respect, the honor, that always, it just blew me away. I used to love watching all of you all of us get together at Nene's house. Everybody loved that, of course. But just the way you all honored your mother, that just really, I'm still blown away by it. I was reading that beautiful, I don't even know I don't even want to call it a program or an obituary, but the mini book that Nita wrote on Nene. I was reading that just last week and just marveling at the life of my grandmother. And then when I look at you all, I look at your spouses, that's a reflection of her work and Pawpaw's work. So talk to us about how they brought this family together. Nene's coming into a family. Aunt Mary is, okay. I guess I was like my Aunt Mary. I wasn't accepting, I'm like, man, come on. We was doing good. Why are you here? And that was my attitude when Daddy married Laquita. I was very territorial, and God had to work on me, and I thank God that He did. And so, tell us about how that whole family unit began to be developed. Now, Pawpaw and Nene are married.
Well, Daddy loved Mama. I mean, they would always joke. I never heard them have an argument. They would always say, let's go see a man about a dog. And I kept wondering, they going to see about a lot of dogs, but never bring a dog home. But but that was their way of saying, we're going to go settle this. And they would go out to Lover's Lane and settle their differences. Mama said people be out at Lover's Lane, make it out, and her and Daddy be out there arguing. But they never did it around the kids. And Mama was such a dynamic cook. Daddy was such a dynamic cook. And we would have dinners, and I remember every Sunday, there was a preacher at the house. Dinner was fixed, and preacher would come out, Reverend Spriggs, and I remember all these preachers. They would come, and oh man, and I remember me just watching Mama cook and watching Daddy. That's why I can cook, because I took all that in. See, people think when I don't be watching, I be watching, I be observing, see how much she put in there, and I file it back, so, but yeah, it was just not giving up, Mama not pushing, but just being, just being herself, not pushing, but just being herself. I mean, she won heart. She didn't win the hearts of any of my biological mama's family, only Aunt Lucille. Aunt Lucille loved her some Mama. Aunt Lucille and Uncle JC, I mean, they were like sisters and brothers, Aunt B and Uncle J and Uncle Brother. I remember Aunt B came up to the house and she said something, and I remember me saying, Mama's in the house. She said, what'd you say? I said, Mama's in the house. She went in the house and she was angry, just because Daddy had married again. Well, the Bible says, to death do your part, So if he'd have gotten married that same day, it would have been all right, biblically speaking. You understand what I'm saying? And yep. So that's what people don't understand. And but yeah, she wasn't accepted by any of them. Uncle Brother, Aunt B, I think Beluvinia had already passed. Then Clarice she didn't make a stink. Thelma, I don't think she made a stink, but silence gives consent too, So yeah. But yeah.
Building that family unit. I mean, so I've never thought about it from that in that context. The resistance that Nenny. All I've thought about is Nenny's coming into the scene. Papa has these children, and she's gonna get right here and pull up her sleeves and go to work and help with these children. That's all I've thought about it. I never thought about the resistance or friction she may have felt from Granny Ruth May's family. So that just takes my respect and love for Nenny to another level, because I know my Nenny. She probably has some words for him. She probably has some words.
Without a doubt.
She probably has some words for him. Because I remember one time, and I know we're getting close to our end, but I remember one time I was at the house with Papa and Nenny, and I'm not going to say what this statement was in reference to, but Papa said, son, sometimes your daddy just too nice. And so I've thought about that so many times in my life, how my daddy will respond. And he a lot of times he'll do it, a lot of times, not 100% of the time, he was responding in a righteous way to people's ignorance or drama or somebody treating him wrong. And I would be like, I don't know. I love the Lord, but I will lay hands on you, and I will lay hands on you. So it's like, Lord, help me. I want to be more like you. And my daddy gave me a good example, but Lord, how does he do that? And so it definitely demands growth, but at the same time, because I've talked to God about this, I have recognized that a lot of times the way we are responding to people when they're not being right, just because we try to keep the peace, that don't mean that you're responding like a godly person. Peace requires us to confront things, to confront unrighteousness, not just let it go, not just let it slide, not just, oh, I'm just going to be quiet. And so that's something I've had to learn literally in the past year. I ain't there yet, but I'm learning, for there to be peace, there has to be some confrontation. And so when we get to have this Mohair Men conference in Denton, you and I have talked about that, some time ago. We're going to have a session on that right there, confrontation in a loving way, because I've definitely seen that you have the ability to do that. You're not just going to let things ride. You're going to address it in the right way. No, we're going to address this. And I'm pretty sure Sean and Brent and Nikki, they know, they've seen their father do it multiple times, right? Yes. So I am grateful for this time, Uncle Clifford. We gonna have, this is the only part one. We gonna come back together and schedule a time so we can pick up from here. Family, I pray that this has been a blessing for you, and we got more to come. So family, I love you. But in the words of my Uncle Clifford, what do you say now, Uncle Clifford?
Love you more.
You were breaking up. Say it one more time.
I love you more.
We gonna end right there. Love you, family.